My mother-in-law wakes me up at 3 every day and makes me do housework. As a result of this lifestyle, I collapsed from overwork. Anyone would fall ill if they couldn't sleep. At the grinds afters. The next day, when I returned home after leaving the hospital, I found my mother-in-law standing in the doorway.
Hospitalization is such an exaggeration. You see young people these days. I wonder if it's because you grew up with a single parent that you're such a scumbag. Text to see your parents' faces. Oops, I forgot. They're gone already.
I saw people my mother-in-law looked at me and laughed, then continued while I was at a loss for words.
If you're a wife, you should get up at 3 away and work like you always have. I won't allow you to fall ill if you don't like it. There's no place for you here. Get the hell out of here.
At this point, I had reached the end of my patience. She woke me up every morning at 3 a.m. to make me work, and to top it all off, she made fun of my late mother. I will never forgive you. I can't be a part of this family any longer. Holding back my voice from trembling, I tried my best to speak calmly. I understand, then I will leave.
I am Lily, 31 years old. My husband Noah and I've been married for 3 years. We bought a 4-bedroom apartment when we got married and lived together there. I am still working at the famous company I entered after graduating college, and Noah's also working for another company. To be honest, Noah's income is only 1/3 of mine, but I was fine with that. I met her about 5 years ago. I grew up in a single-parent home. My mother, who raised me single-handedly, passed away of illness 6 years ago. I had no siblings, so when I was feeling lonely, one of my co-workers introduced me to Noah. He had a rather timid personality, but he was very kind to me. We had a pretty steady relationship, and I was truly happy when he proposed to me 3 years ago. Maybe it was the joy of finally having a family of my own. When I went to Noah's parents' house to greet his family for the first time, my parents-in-law welcomed me kindly. I had the first impression of a dignified father-in-law and a modest and gentle mother-in-law. They smiled at me and told me that they were very happy to see me.
My mother-in-law welcomed me, saying, Lily, from now on, I want you to think of me as your real mother.
Yes, thank you. These people will be my family. I'm glad that they are kind people. I must take good care of them.
I felt completely at ease and decided to marry Noah. For Christmas, right after we got married, Noah took me home with him. I was chatting with my father-in-law at the table when my mother-in-law spoke to me.
Lily, may I have a word?
Yeah, so what is it?
Except comforting, I was led into the next room, where my mother-in-law started staring at me. She asked, "Why are you wearing a skirt today?"
It's Christmas, you know. As a wife, you'll have to move around a lot, won't you? You can't move around in a skirt. And it's not appropriate for a wife to start chatting happily at the table as soon as she arrives. I replied, but Noah's father told me to. She scornfully snorted and said, "No more excuses. Change your clothes and come to the kitchen."
Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry.
That's why young people these days need discipline.
It's that we paid for it to be Syrian. I left my mother-in-law, who was still mumbling to herself, to change my clothes. I was in a cold sweat and my heart was beating fast the whole time. After that, I was made to cook in the kitchen. Well, my mother-in-law scolded me endlessly.
You are not a good wife if you don't bring your own apron. You are not very good at cooking either. This seasoning is disgusting.
She was so kind to me before Noah and I got married, but she changed immediately after marriage. This is a fraud. By the time I returned home after staying one night, I was exhausted.
Lily, please come visit us again.
I was even terrified when my mother-in-law said this with a soft smile. Since then, whenever I visited my in-laws, I was always nagged by my mother-in-law, but I could not say anything about it to Noah. Of course, one reason was because I didn't want Noah to hate me. But more than that, if I divorced Noah right now, it would cause grief to my parents in heaven, who were so happy to see me get married. I wanted to avoid that at all costs. Fortunately, my in-laws live a few hours away by car, so I only see them when Noah goes back home. I have no complaints about my life with Noah. If only we could continue to live together in peace. But that hope was soon shattered. One weekend, Noah and I were at home when suddenly the intercom rang. I looked at the intercom screen and froze. Noah rushed to the door.
Mom, what's going on? Why are you here all of a sudden without calling?
Noah asked. Then she came into the house and started crying. I divorced your father. Noah's mother, Kate, said.
What?
Noah was obviously surprised, and his mother tearfully told us the story. Noah's father asked for the divorce out of the blue and kicked her out of the house after offering only a minimal share of the property. I'm all alone, and I have nowhere to go, Kate said.
Oh no, you have me. You can stay here as long as you want.
My reaction unexpectedly spilled out of my mouth, but Noah looked at me and said, "It's all right, Lily? I can't leave my mom alone." I reluctantly agreed. Yeah, I understand.
Thank you, Noah.
His mother gave him an overemphasized appreciation. This is how my mother-in-law and we began to live together. In the beginning, when we just started living together, she was very quiet, but after a week, she gradually revealed her true nature. I was cooking breakfast one day, and my mother-in-law scolded me in an exaggerated manner. "What are you doing?" she exclaimed. "They're too soft," she said, pointing to the eggs I was cooking. "Great, Noah," she asked. I looked over at Noah sitting at the dining room table. He looks happy. Yes, your eggs are a little too soft," Noah said, not seeming to mind. "I never told you that before," he added.
See, I told you. Now start again. I'll watch over for you this time.
I can selfie to sile people and texta bakvist, and was bothered though I did not show it. After that, my mother-in-law started to nag me about my housework. Since I was also working, I always did my chores quickly. That my mother-in-law, of course, was not satisfied with that.
Achilles, why don't you wipe the floor every day?
Well, we do have a cleaning robot, but
You can't rely on something like that. You should clean your own floors.
I had to wipe the floors of all the rooms in the middle of the night before going to bed. All the while, my mother-in-law was just standing there watching me with her arms crossed. It was past 1 a.m. when I finished cleaning.
Starting tomorrow, you will wipe the floor in all the rooms every day, right?
This so well. So,
And so my list of household chores grew and grew. My mother-in-law was home every day. But if you ask me if she does something for me, not at all. She doesn't even hang a single piece of laundry. Since I started living with my mother-in-law, Noah, who used to help me with the housework, stopped doing anything. Whenever Noah tries to help with the housework, his mother would stop him.
Noah, you're tired from working every day, aren't you? You don't have to do that. It's the wife's job to take care of the house.
Yeah, I guess that's right. Lily can do it for me.
Of course she can. Lily is not a perfect wife, so I'll make sure she knows what she's doing.
Oh, thanks, Mom.
Action, I was stunned to hear that conversation. I'm also working every day. I didn't know Noah was such a person. Yes, Noah was a mama's boy and was easily persuaded by her.
no, I have a hard time when your mother interferes, with my housework.
What? Did Mom say something wrong? She's forcing me to do things her way, and I can't do all those chores by myself.
It's not like that, but
Just do as Mom says and everything will be fine. You mean you can't do it all because you're slow, right?
what?
Take a cue from my mom. I want you to be able to do the housework well and become a good wife.
I took Camia of prayers. Noah, who was so cooperative in the housework and so kind to me. I wondered where he had gone. I could only stare at Noah's back as he went to bed in disbelief. After that, I continued to cook 3 meals a day for the 3 of us. I was busy with cleaning up, sweeping up, and doing laundry too. The dishwasher and cleaning robot were banned, so I was forced to do everything with my hands. Dishwasher and cleaning robot were banned, so I was forced to do everything by hand. Then there was wiping the floor, ironing, and shoe shining for Noah added to the list. It was almost 2 when I went to bed every night. This affected my work as well. It became hard to get up in the morning. I had trouble concentrating and had headaches. It was hard to get work done, and I made more mistakes. My boss suggested that I was slacking off, and I was depressed by his words. I felt that if I continued like this, I would not be able to sustain myself physically and mentally. So I decided to talk to my mother-in-law directly.
Hang on, Mouse. I do the housework properly on weekends. So can't you let me go to bed early during the week? If I don't, I won't be able to continue working.
Well, okay. Why don't you go to bed early tonight, but you'll have to do at least some of the housework, doing the dishes and ironing. I'll cut you a break for tonight.
As soon they can.
But you'll have to do at least some of the housework, doing the dishes and ironing. I'll cut you a break for tonight.
Thank you.
I finished my chores in a great hurry. I was able to go to bed at 11 that night. But for the first time in a long time, I could sleep peacefully until morning. I was so relieved that I fell asleep right away. But a few hours later,
Lily!
my mother-in-law shouted and shook my body to wake me up. I jumped out of bed, flustered.
What is it? Why are you in our bedroom?
Why? Because it's time to get up.
I looked at my clock in a panic and saw that it was 3 EP. It was still dark outside. I protested in a whisper, trying not to wake Noah, who was snoring next to me.
It's only 3 a.m. I usually wake up at 6:30.
What are you talking about? You went to bed yesterday without wiping the floor? Do it now.
What,
If you go to bed early, you get up early and do the housework. That's a wife's job.
My mother-in-law tugged on my arm and made me come to the hallway. There was already a bucket and a rag ready in the hallway.
please. Are you serious?
Of course I am. Come on, you'll be late if you don't do it quickly. Just when you're done wiping the floor, the next thing to do is Noah's shoes and the toilet.
Okay. Okay.
I'm going to sleep again, so make sure you get it done. And don't cut corners when making breakfast. Make sure it's ready as always.
Yes, ma'am. I crawled on my knees and wiped the floor. My head was foggy and my body felt very heavy. I had no choice but to mindlessly do the housework like a robot.
Finished the floor, and from there I went on to do Noah's shoes and the toilet. Then I made breakfast.
As Noah ate his breakfast happily, his mother said to him,
Lily couldn't wake up by herself, so I had to wake her.
Really? Come on, Lily. You should have woken up by yourself.
It was like a conversation from somewhere far away. From the next day, my mother-in-law started waking me up at 3 a.m. each time. She told me to do the chores in detail, and if I didn't keep everything up, she would complain to me. I slept less than for hours a night, and they had chronic headaches and nausea. After 3 weeks of living like this, I reached my limit. Lieutenant one day, I collapsed at work and was rushed to the emergency room. I had been asleep in the hospital bed for more than 6 hours. When I woke up, no one was at my side.
Hey, what are you doing overworked?
I couldn't believe my ears at the sound of Noah's grumpy voice.
You know, because you weren't there, Mom had to take care of the housework. Don't you feel sorry for her? After saying that Noah walked out of the hospital room.
I could do nothing but stare at his back in dismay. The next day, when I returned home after leaving the hospital, I found my mother-in-law standing in the doorway.
Lily, how can you leave the house for a whole day? Didn't you hear? Hospitalization is such an exaggeration. Young people these days.
I was overworked and in the hospital.
Shut up. I wonder if it's because you grew up with a single parent that you're such a scumbag. I like to see your parents' faces. Oops, I forgot they're gone already. My mother-in-law looked at me and laughed sardonically.
She continued, and I was at a loss for words.
If you're a wife, you should get up at 3 a.m. and work as you always have. I won't allow you to fall ill.
But if you don't like it, there's no place for you here. Get the hell out here.
At this point, I had reached the end of my patience. She woke me up every morning at 3 a.m. to make me work, and to top it all off, she made fun of my late mother. I will never forgive you. I can't be a part of this family any longer. Holding back my voice from trembling, I tried my best to speak calmly.
Understand, then I will leave.
What?
I walked past my mother-in-law with her eyes widened and gathered up my belongings. I didn't listen to what my mother-in-law was saying and left. A month later, I walked out of the office after work to see Noah and his mother with their faces red. They were screaming about something, so I had no choice but to go into a nearby cafe to listen to what they had to say.
Lily, what the hell is this?
Noah held up a signed divorce paper. What, as you can see, I want a divorce.
Divorce? I thought you would come back after rethinking. But how can you say something so outrageous?
To Noah, who was spitting on me as he got closer, I said, "Your mother said to me, if you can't get up at 3 a.m. to do the housework, then you have to leave. So that's what I did. Why don't you just do what we tell you?" My mother-in-law intervened, but I ignored her. "Noah, just get a divorce." I will not agree to that.
Why is that? Because you're in need of money, alright?
Noah stiffened at my words. "What? Money? What are you talking about, Noah?" By her reaction, my mother-in-law did not know what we were talking about. I told her to make everything clear. "Oh, I see. You didn't know that Noah's annual income is only 1/3 of mine? With Noah's income, he would not be able to support you or even pay the mortgage on the house. That's why he refuses the divorce."
Please, Lily, come back.
Do you remember what you said when I collapsed? Do you remember what you said when I collapsed? You never worried about me, and you always took your mother's side. How can I be married to someone like that? I'll never forgive your mother for what she did to me, nor forgive you for just watching us silently. Not to mention division of property, but I'm gonna demand compensation for my mental anguish, so be prepared.
Well, that's...
I'll do whatever it takes, even go to court. From now on, please contact me through my lawyer.
I handed my lawyer's business card to Noah. He stared at it, sweating like a pig. Then my mother-in-law suddenly clung to my arm.
Wait a minute. How are we going to live? Lily, please help us.
I shook off her hand vigorously.
I don't care. You sow the seed, so do something about it yourself.
But with that, I left the coffee shop, leaving the two of them pale-faced. Afterwards, Noah cried to me, telling me that he can't pay the alimony. He agreed to sell the house and to give me that money plus all of his savings. He finally got divorced. Noah and his mother ended up in a shabby apartment. My mother-in-law gave up on Noah and tried to get her ex-husband to help them, but she was kicked out. I was later told that Noah's mother did very little housework at home. Noah's father was fed up with her two-faced personality and was the one who suggested the divorce. After her ex-husband shooed her away, Noah's mother still lives with her son, who has no savings. The only thing that has changed is that she started working a part-time job early in the morning at the factory. I hope she will take this opportunity to reflect on all the times she has mistreated me. I, on the other hand, have found a new house, and I'm living a pretty good life. I'm happy to do my housework for only myself and sleep soundly every night. But that's not all. Recently, one of my coworkers asked me to be his girlfriend. He said he had been in love with me for a long time, but he had given up on it because I was married. Then he hurried about my divorce and opened up about how he had always felt. He's rumored to be sincere and earnest, so I'm starting by going on a dinner date with him. I would like to strive for a good, positive life from now on. Thank you for watching.